And we are live! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Gaming Roundup for week 32. I have been left on my own. Keith has buggered off to Thailand. Nigel has buggered off to France. So naturally, I had to call in some support. And I had one person on my list, and this one person was good enough to say yes. And it's Gerzo. Say hello, Gerzo.
Hello, Internet. I've just heard that some sex appeal to the Gaming Roundup.
Yes, that lovely lush Irish accent there, just to try and make things a bit sexier than normal, because you don't want to hear my kind of whiny and slightly wanky voice. It's always the way I shout. So we've got some stories and bits for you. So to give you the rundown, we've got talking about Xcom 2, and they released the first 15 minutes of footage showing you the Avenger, which is quite cool. And then we're going to talk about Fallout 4, how they decided to keep quiet about it up until E3. Then we talk about Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's releasing a new, what they call the Rockstar editor, which is quite cool. Then there's the thing with the original Xbox games going on to the Xbox One, which is really cool. Then we move on to some feedback and finish off with some good old-fashioned shameless plugging. So shall we kick this thing off?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's move to the first one. The first one, I forgot about XCOM 2 for a bit, and then they released this bit of footage, and I've got all excited all over again for it. It looks fantastic. They released 12 minutes of the intro of the game, and they show you the Avenger, which is the XCOM home base, and they take you through the Avenger, and you get to meet the engineering section and the science section and the kind of, what do you call it, the situation room and all that stuff, which was fantastic. It's a bit weird because your character's been asleep for over 20 years. I don't know how long he's been asleep for, but it says over 20 years. He's got this weird, mysterious chip thing in the back of his head, which is probably going to play into the overall story. And then they've got some new characters on there. There's a guy called Dr. Tegan, who's replaced Dr. Van Halen, who's the slightly creepy German lady from the first game. They've got lots of things like genetic engineering, so you can sit there and modify your soldiers to heal better. No signs of cybernetic enhancements like you had in Enemy Within. And then have these weird drone things, which are called gremlins, which look quite cool. Plus, the map is now divided up into global sections, so you've got things like kind of Europe and North Africa and West Africa and bits like that. So you get to travel a bit more with your mobile base. There seems to be a damn sight more customization on the guns and whatnot. And it's slated for a November release. I think it's going to come out. I am really buzzed for this game. I love the original XCOM. I miss playing strategy games because everything kind of just turned into first-person shooters across the 7th generation, and strategy games kind of died off. But XCOM kind of indicates some kind of resurgence in the whole strategy thing. So did you see the 12 minutes of XCOM footage?
Yes, I did. And that was actually the first bit of anything I've ever heard of that series or that game. And like you, I would be very fond of strategy games and whatnot. I think one time we were talking on Twitter about the Total War series. And I noticed kind of in the trailer, there was a bit of lobbying going on between the different sessions of the Avenger. There was, the engineer was saying, it would really help out if you kind of, supported me a bit. And then there was that other guy that showed the chip in the back of his brain was there.
Yes, you had.
He was trying to get something, and I'm not aware of how the first story was. I tried to do a bit of research on it before this, but I was thinking that the developer said they're gameplay driven and not story driven, which I suppose is evident by, being asleep for 20 years. So everything you did in the first game kind of doesn't matter anymore to a certain degree. And I was thinking maybe the chip has already done what it was intended to do by the aliens or whoever put it there, and maybe you'll switch sides halfway through the game so that you get the perspective then of the invading forces. I don't know if I completely grabbed that the wrong way, but I was just trying to think, of something to say about a game that I hadn't heard of.
No, that's fine. That's something I didn't realize, because you kind of play the first game and you're just on the human side, full stop. You don't want anything to be aliens. You're trying to find out what's going on, because the story of XCOM Enemy Unknown or Enemy Within is aliens are kind of running an experiment to see if you can access, humans have a genetic potential to do something, because it isn't a full-scale invasion. They're kind of doing these little incursions here and there, so you can man it.
Yeah.
But in this game, they look like they did a full-scale incursion and just wiped everyone out within probably 11 minutes, including yourself and whatever remained of the XCOM team. I didn't think of the side-swapping thing. And in the other game, you also had a bit where you had a bit of lobbying between the science division and the engineering division, and that was the kind of the genetics and the cybernetics aspect, where you got this thing called, I can't remember what it's called now, this substance which allowed you to modify people on the genetic level or modify them on a cybernetic level. So that was quite cool.
I seen I think it was on one of the articles I read about it, that they were saying there was no sign of any cybernetic stuff, or I don't know if, so I think they're maybe saying that they've decided to go down the route of genetically modifying the soldiers.
Yeah, I think because of if you played enemy within the cybernetic modifications, when you got to the top tier, you could pretty much trounce anything in your way with ease.
Okay.
The genetic ones didn't really allow that. They allowed you a few tricks and that, so like kind of you could take over things using telepathy and whatnot, and heal and be able to jump up the side of buildings and whatnot. But with the engineering thing, you could just make people into human tanks. It was a bit weird because you had to saw their arms and legs off, and it's like kind of that's fine as a gameplay mechanic, but I wanted to keep them somewhere safe just in case I change my mind a later day.
I noticed as well that whenever they were customizing one of the soldiers, it said that his nationality was Norwegian, and they were doing all these differently customizable things on him. And when I was actually really impressed with that part, because I was looking at him and I thought he actually does look like a Norwegian, and he actually looked a bit like, I don't know if you've seen it, the show Vikings.
Yes,
he looked about Ragnar Lothbrok, or I think that's his name, something like that. But he looked a lot like him, and it looks a good game. I think it comes out 2 days after my birthday, so I'll probably pick it up then or download it. So
yeah. I think it is, and you're right. I do like that thing. It also did you notice the little things where you could put personality things in it, like you could put twitchy and aggressive and playful and all that sort of thing, which I imagine would contribute to panic. So you'd have certain characters that panic easier than others with personality types and whatnot.
I didn't even think of that, actually. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a bit weird because there'll be certain ones that will freak out at the giant snake, and then there'll be other ones that freak out at the telepathic monster and whatnot. And you want a sniper who's like ice, so they don't fucking miss anything. So you wouldn't want like kind of
a twitchy sniper wouldn't be a good combination, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. So to wrap it up, it looks fantastic. I am genuinely excited for this game. The end of this year, game wise, looks really exciting. We've got Battlefront, we've got No Man's Sky, we've got we've got Fallout 4, and it looks cool. So talking of Fallout 4, we'll just we'll mosey on down to the fact that when Fallout 4 was released, everyone was like you kept very quiet about Fallout 4. There was no publicity, there was no teaser trailer, nothing like this. You pretty much showed it when it looked like it was in the final stages, and they were just going through the tidying up phase of the game rather than halfway through where they show you something that never made it into the game, which always kind of narks me when it comes to tease trailers and stuff like that. And they said that they would like to have kept it a secret for as long as possible. They would have had it secret for like a week. They reckon that the demand for Fallout 4 was so great that they could have kept it secret until a week before its launch. I don't think it's a good move because I would have liked to pre-order it and get all the cool stuff. And I love Fallout 4. Then there's people who have got opinions on it saying the graphics don't look so great and this, that, and the other. And I admit the graphics don't look so great, but what you're missing in graphical detail, you've got in kind of interaction and play mechanics, which you don't get in other games. So the whole base building thing they showed us, the building up your stats and whatnot, is going to make a huge thing to this. So how are you feeling about Fallout 4?
Well, I agree with what you said there about the graphics. If the gameplay is good, the graphics aren't really going to matter. Whereas if you had good graphics and bad gameplay, then it's going to matter. So the thing, I've never played a Fallout game, and I probably don't intend on getting this one. But in the article that I think it was Cinema Blend, the article was on.
Yes.
The guy said in the article, he wished that they had have give us 2 years in advance or something for the a teaser like 2 years ago. Just like something short, let us know what's happening. And then he said that he wished that they would discredit some of the hoaxers that were putting stuff up, like fake videos and stuff like that. And I just thought that was like, if they had to give the teaser a year ago, you would have got a lot more fake footage coming out straight away after the teaser. Because, well, I can't say this 100%, but my experience with Star Wars Battlefront 3, that was a game that was anticipated for a long time after Battlefront 2 came out, and there was constantly fake stuff on YouTube about it. And then when they eventually teased it at E3, I think it was 2-3 years ago, it was like 3 times the amount of fake information came out about the game after that. And so anytime you went on YouTube to try to find anything out, it was either clickbait or just completely speculation that was posing as a news kind of thing. I can see that people who are fans of the series, that's why, like, I don't speak for everyone here, but people who are fans of the series, I can understand that they would want to know as soon as possible for the financial side of it, because you want to be able to put the money away to get the game, and if there's a collector's edition or whatever. But I just thought that it was odd that he wanted them to get rid of all the fake stuff while wanting it earlier, if you get my meaning.
Yeah, I think the article said that he used they said that the fake stuff was a good indicator that people were hungry for the game. But yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of fake stuff. I've seen some really good fake things.
Oh yeah.
I'm just remembering to go off topic here. There was a Doctor Who trailer for when Peter Capaldi was about to be the Doctor, and they released some fake footage, and everyone knew it was fake. Even the BBC said it was fake, but they all turned around and said, "Actually, this is pretty good. We like it. We'll have this. We'll sit there and say this isn't true, but we'll say this is good fan made kind of thing." Yeah, I haven't seen too much of Fallout Battlefront 4 fake stuff at the moment, which is good. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff going around with Battlefront 3. I remember because there was the company who did Haze, I think it was. They were supposed to be doing a thing where it was supposed to be taking you in and out of orbit, and they were just doing that as a programming bit on their own before they shut down. And there was all these other things too, like it was supposed to have like really intense space battles, and then I think they chopped it all out.
Yeah, I think there's no space battles, and I don't want to talk about Battlefront whenever we're meant to be talking about Fallout, but there's no space battles, but they do have aerial combat. It's just jets, or not jets, but spaceships fighting in the atmosphere. So it really is a space battle, but
yeah, but you're not going to sit there about to nip out into like an asteroid belt and escape what you call it, Star Destroyer, which is one of the things you kind of want to do from the Star Wars games. You have that kind of feeling. That does look cool. But when it comes to Fallout 4, I understand. I'm in two minds when it comes to games. Yeah, it's either I'd like to hear about it 6 months before it comes out, so I'm not waiting around too long, because that always kind of narks me. Is that, oh, here's the game. 2 years later, you got to wait 2 years before we finish it, or they give you when it's done and it takes 5 years to come out. I'll give you Alan Wake on the Xbox as an example, where that was supposed to almost be a release title, and that thing took forever. And that was one of the actual Xbox games that I was interested in, because it seemed a bit more, exciting. Adventure horror game and thing with the writer and whatnot. But having Fallout 4 saying that here it is, it's coming out 6 months later, and here's a little game to keep yourself busy as you're doing it, is fantastic. I think so. I'm not too fussed. I can understand why they did it. I think waiting a week before the game, because of the kind of production, the producers and whatnot are kind of perfectionists, as they described it, and they would, every time they see something wrong with the game.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. I do the same when I do reports at work. It's like I release a report at work and I go, no, I've changed that. But hey, I like not having to wait 2 years for something. So I think they were right to wait to do it 6 months out. I would have appreciated something just to turn around and say we are working on it. Just because it was just like it vanished, and all I heard was 2018. It was like 2018 for Fallout 4. You're having a laugh. All right, so let's pop onto Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS4 and the Xbox One is having their Rockstar editor, and this was released as a PC function, and now they're putting it onto the PS4 and the Xbox One, so you can make up these videos and then release them. So there've been a few videos here and there which I didn't get around to watching, where people have made kind of like little gangster movies. So my brother would be absolutely thrilled with making little gangster movies. He'd probably still redub it over in geezerish. But yeah, he'd love to go through that. I think this is cool. It looks very similar to the kind of the setup with the Share Factory. I'm not too sure about the Xbox One setup because I haven't got one. I'd like to get one. So if anyone wants to send an Xbox One they're not interested in to me, just I'll give you tricks off the show. But yeah, it looks cool. I do like the idea of that, and I think that maybe we'll get some more kind of exciting clips. And it's the fact that it's kind of recreated the bit inside the game, so you can rotate the angle. So where you got the Share Factory, where it just copies what you're seeing on screen, you can now manipulate it in with like a 3D thing, so you can change the angles and you get a bit more like a director with it. And having kind of these little functions and tweaks and bits, I love my features. So I always say this. So have you played Grand Theft Auto 4, 5?
Yeah, I think I've bought it at least 3 times or something like that. Because I got it for PS3, and then I was under the impression, I can't even remember if they said this at the start. I was just told it's not coming out for the next generation of consoles. So I got it for PS3, and then they said it was coming out for PS4, so I got it for PS4, and then I stopped playing it for PlayStation 4 because I was too busy. I was waiting on heists for so long, and I just gave up. And then they brought out heists, and I thought, oh, I think I'll get that. And then I've gotten rid of it again. So I don't think this is going to bring me back to it, but I think it's a really cool thing to add. It's free, isn't it? It's not.
It's free. It's just an update for it. I was the same with you. I played it on the PS3. I'm going to complete it on the PS3, and then it was like kind of the heist bits are coming out, and it was like, okay, the heist bits are coming out.
Yeah.
Then the PS4 bits come. Okay, now the PS4's coming out. Okay, I won't get it on PS4 because I'm not interested until the heists come along, and then I want someone to play with. And then it was trying to persuade other people to get it, and no one wanted to buy it. So I was like, I'll buy Batman. I'll have Batman instead. Yeah, but it's weird because the kind of share function exists inside the thing, and I've made videos on the Share Factory just as demonstrations to say that you can do this. But it would be cool because there'll be not everyone, but there're going to be a few people who can produce really kind of cool things on this bit on the Xbox One and that.
And so, I thought it kind of reminded me of like a FIFA game that. That you can recreate the moment after you score a goal. You can you can go into the replay and get all the different angles and look at all the different players' perspective on the goal. So that's kind of what it reminded me of. And like when I played FIFA, I'd say last year actually, I would do that quite a bit. So to me, like if you're getting something for free added in on a game that you already paid for, it's like there's nothing wrong with that. I suppose people could argue that maybe they could have added in different stuff, but I still think it's a cool feature, especially for people with YouTube channels that want to upload stuff to do with GTA and all that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It wasn't in the original thing when you bought the game, and then they threw it in after, and they haven't charged you for it. And yes, it is like the FIFA with the goals. That's the best analogy for it, because I'm trying to think how to describe it. But yeah, it is with FIFA when you sit there and you can replay it, and you can have it from all the angles. So you can have it from a stadium angle, you can have it from the foot angle, you can have it from the back of the goal, etc. Yes, I do like that analogy. It's cool. As I said before, my favorite thing is I do love it when people put features on things. Stuff that you wouldn't have normally there. It reminds me of the Halo stuff with Machinima and all that stuff where they were recreating bits inside there. And I imagine it will get similar things inside this. The downside to that is the vocalization of characters, because you're not going to do like lip sync and stuff with them, as far as I know. Maybe you can, but you probably want your guys to talk. So with the Halo thing, they just nodded the guy's head up and down to indicate they were talking because you couldn't see any mouths. Yeah. But maybe there's something in there, maybe there's something I don't know about. But yeah, it's cool. Features are always cool. So talking about features and stuff, the Xbox One is hopefully getting at one point. Sorry, let me start again. The Xbox One may be getting compatibility to play the original Xbox One games. The Xbox One, the first Xbox. um, and Phil Spencer was on Twitter, and he was asking about kind of, would you like to see this and that? So they were looking at the backwards compatibility, because the Xbox 360 had backwards compatibility, even though the backwards compatibility was a little bit on the clunky side, and people complained about frame rate issues and shudders and crashes and things like that. So given the fact that the Xbox One can pretend to be a 360, maybe the 360 can then pretend to be an Xbox One, and maybe that will be able to run games. But given the fact that people online can build emulators for Xbox Ones, for PCs and Macs and whatnot, there is a good chance that if that's compatible with Windows 10, they can lift some of those bits and pop it onto the Xbox One console, which is fantastic. This is, again, another feature. I love my features. I'll be honest with you, there's probably only a few games here and that you go back to and revisit that haven't been either made into a HD collection or, are boring, because you do have boring games. I think the only games I really want to go back to and play on my PS2 are the Xcom games, but it's one of those things. So you're a PS4 owner. Do you have an Xbox One, or did you own an Xbox 360?
I've never owned an Xbox console.
Never.
But the funny thing is, and it's kind of to do with this story, is that the PS1 obviously came out before any Xbox came out, and that's the first console that me and my brother owned. So whenever it came to the decision whether to get an Xbox or a PlayStation 2, we got a PlayStation 2 because we knew we weren't going to be able to afford to get many games with it. So we thought, if we get the PlayStation 2, we can get rid of the PS1 and then use the games to play. We can use the PS1 games on the PS2. So backwards compatibility made me avoid the Xbox before, but I think I would get an Xbox One if this was implemented, purely because I don't think there's enough Xbox One games that I would want to play to justify getting it as well as having a PS4. But if I could play basically every Xbox game that's ever been made, I know they're not going to make everyone available, but I'm sure they would make the likes of the old Halo games, and I think there was an Abe game on the Xbox that I wanted to play as well whenever it first came out. So there was just a few games that I wanted to play on the original Xbox that I never got around to getting. But what I would rather is, instead of doing this update stuff online, and I know they're probably never going to do what I'm about to suggest, but if they would just bring out the 1 terabyte hard drive Xbox, and just kind of the way the PS3 was, that you could play PlayStation 2 games and One games on it, just it was built into the system. I'm not sure, I don't know all the technical stuff to do with it, but if they did that with the Xbox One, they wouldn't have the problem with licensing of certain games, because I think they have to emulate it on the Xbox, and then they can't, I think there's certain games that they don't have the license to anymore, so they can't actually emulate them on it.
Yeah.
So if they made the Xbox just be able to play the original Xbox games, I think they could avoid that kind of legal thing, but I doubt they would ever, specifically make an Xbox to be backwards compatible. I think if they can update it, like the hardware they already have, to keep the fan base happy that have already bought Xbox Ones, I think that's just what they're going to do. But if they were going to release a new Xbox that definitely 100% that you play every old Xbox game, like for the original Xbox and 360, I would definitely be getting it. And just one last thing I'd like to add here is that I'm hoping that this makes the price of the 360 decrease a little bit more, because that tends to happen whenever things be backwards compatible, because there are a few 360 games that I would like to play, and I wouldn't mind buying a pre-owned 360 if it got even cheaper than it is at the minute. So
I did a similar thing with the GameCube. When they announced the Wii, I bought a GameCube. And
yeah,
GameCube games which I couldn't play. Which I wanted to play, but I couldn't justify, and I bought them for like $5 each, and I had a really good time. And I think I had about 7 solid months of playing GameCube games, which was fantastic. But the thing with the Xbox One and the PS4 have changed their architecture, because the Xbox One runs more like a PC architecture. It's close to what they call X64, which is the current standard. It's the 64-bit operating system. And then you've got PlayStation, which has a weird version of the x86 thing, which is just like all the other PC things. But the previous generation, the Xbox 360, was referred to as Power PC architecture, which is relatively easy to program for, but not as easy as x64 and x86. God, this just sounds really fucking boring. And then you had the PlayStation, which had its parallel cell chip architecture, which is bizarre in the world of games development, but in the world of computing, it's quite common to have supercomputers that run in this parallel architecture. So you can see the angle they went down there. But the compatibility is you have to kind of bring it into and run on that, because if you put a PowerPC architecture, you then have to put some kind of bridge to make the two things run. And it's the same thing when they brought out the original PS3, which I had with the bloody slots in and everything, so you could put in like SD cards and compact flash cards and whatnot, and then broke when I was playing Borderlands and I lost it. And it was one of those annoying things. For me, having the backwards compatibility is only really important for the kind of the first 18 months of the console's life. The reason is that, as we've seen with this generation of consoles, there isn't not enough decent games around at this point in time. You know, you're getting a few dribs and drabs here. We're starting to get the ramp up now, and next year will be really good for games and whatnot. But this is when you need that backwards compatibility. As soon as you get past this hump, that's when you can literally ditch it. And if you want backwards compatibility, you just go and buy the second-hand version of the original consoles. You're right with the 360. I hope it comes down, because I've got a 360 here because I bought one because there's a list of games and stuff, and I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm a core gamer where I have to have everything. I have to play everything. And it's like I want a Wii U and I want a 360, and I can't just Xbox One. And me and Nigel were talking about this recently about trying to justify buying an Xbox One, but at the moment there's just not enough kind of unique games to justify to buy it. When the Gears of War collection comes out and the new Gears of War game comes out, that'll add a big justification to it. But at this point in time, it's kind of not there, and that's why backwards compatibility is nice. It's annoying with the PS4. They do have PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Now is more of a game rental service, and they could have gone down the Netflix angle, or they could have been very, very nice and turned around and said, you bought it digitally on your PS3, you can have it on Now for free. But these things are annoying, but you have to kind of factor in the fact that someone's got to manufacture it, and someone has to go through the effort of reprogramming it and putting in these bridge bits and that, because people don't think it's that. They think it's like copy and paste. No, it's not, because you copy and paste it, and then some poor bastard then has to go through it, and that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Okay, now it works on this version, but for some reason this one's got slightly different firmware, and now it doesn't work on it, and then they start pulling the hair out and whatnot. And not speaking from experience when programming stuff at work. And it's just like, you've got exactly the same computer as me. How is this not working? Look, press button works. Press button doesn't work, and it does. It's frustrating. But I love, as I say, I love features. And if they can bring it, and you can get these things, and you, as you said, the 360 comes out, so you can buy those games. You can have that kind of 7 months or 6 months of playing 360 games that you missed, that backlog. It is worth it, and I do always find that really enjoyable, because you just have a catalogue of just pure gold to play, and then you get to see the value of the console in a 6 month period, rather than having to wait for dribs and drabs like you currently do with consoles. So yeah, sorry, I dithered then, you have to excuse me. So right, let's we're going to move on to some feedback, and then some shameless plugging. So all right, so I've got the feedback here, and there's a few people I'd like to thank. A guy called Trevor H from Ready Set Gaming 87. He liked how Fallout was beaten by Baby news, and he also liked the gaming roundup for week 31. Thank you very much. Also, I thank Kanukal, because he said thank you on our 2000 videos, along with a Twitter handle called Amy, who liked our Ho Hookum video, which is one of our more funny ones, and we've got to sit down and write these things, but having time to sit down and just actually genuinely jot these things out is a little frustrating. Then Giant Bacon, who liked our Peter Dinklage removed from Destiny video, which I had great fun dubbing over. I wasn't supposed to dub over it, Alex was supposed to dub over it, but I couldn't get hold of him, and it was just getting too late. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And then Men Over Beard for catching up with all the podcasts that we do, and Dank for liking our bits too. Then we're going to move on to Facebook, and we're on Facebook. We'd like to say thank you to I don't know if you know this person, Louise Z. So I can
is that Louise Z by any chance?
Yes,
or
Louise Z. Thank you. It's like it's like when you sit there and you check, and it's like, kind of got it on this one, you got it on this one, you got this one. It says Z. It's because you want it said Z. Yeah. She liked my little picture of the Minecraft Steve that I got for a blind bag. My son saw that I got that, and he got very jealous, and I had to give it to him in the end. Because it was like kind of, I pulled it out and I said to him, I bet I got really cool when I opened it up and got Steve. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, you got Steve. And he looked so disappointed, but he was trying to put on a brave face. And it was like, oh, here, you know what? I'm having it tonight so I can take a couple of pictures so I can put on Instagram and then you can have it in the morning. And he went, can I? I went, yes, you can have that. But yes, I'm not a grown up at all. And then there's the thank yous for the 200 videos, and Louise Z said thank you, and she liked my t-shirt, my Gaming Face Punch t-shirt, which only 2 have ever been made. No, 3 have been made. Nige has one of them. And then another guy, Gerzo M to the double C. I can't remember his name, something Carroll, the guy who had the lottery win and he blew it on the What is a Geezer video, which my brother did. My brother is me and my brother sat down one evening and we were drunk and we just recorded some stuff. There's some stuff that's genuinely funny, but we can never put online because it's just too bloody rude or in complete copyright infringement. We redid a Ladbrokes advert.
Oh God!
And my brother is taking the piss out of every stage of this. So we've like replaced the music and that, and it's like kind of, this is Lucky George. Well, he thinks he's fucking lucky, and then it goes off and incredibly rude. Then there's Little Gadget. Thank you very much. I did see the Gymquisition episode. I saw it after we filmed our one because our one went out late. McPlastering, thanks again for liking our 200 subs video. Maybe one day I should get the other guys to come down and you can teach us how to plaster something, because that would just make an amusing video of seeing 3 buffoons just screw something up, and it's just how long you can keep your patience with us without hitting us or yelling at us. That's something I will really, really want to do. And then we've got Debonair Fox, who's like a comedy channel, and they said, thanks, you said you deserve all your subs and whatnot. So that's it for feedback. For everyone who's given us feedback, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to some good old-fashioned shameless plugging. Gerzo, because you're not normally here, I'm going to let you plug your own stuff, so you can plug yourself on Twitter and YouTube, etc., etc.
If you like lazily made YouTube videos that have dogs barking in the background and a kid screaming, my channel is for you, especially if you like Dragon Ball Z or anime or retro gaming. So just check out Gerzo M to the double C. You'll see me commenting under pretty much any Gaming Face Punch video. So that's the way you can contact me. The only way you can get hold of me is by going on to the Gaming Face Punches videos on YouTube and looking for my name in the comments.
Thank you very much. Okay, all right. This is I have to plug ourselves shamelessly. Thank you for that, Gerzo. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 podcasts. We put one podcast out on a Monday and another one out on Thursday, and they are going out on time because Keith is on holiday and I'm doing the podcasts at the moment. So there you go, Keith. I know you're listening. Also, we have a YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we have our bite-sized news. We put out the occasional review and the occasional mad video that we come across. Just hints of randomness. You can follow us on Twitter at gamingfacepunch.com. You can also like us on Facebook. Just look for Gaming Face Punch. And we have a Google Plus page. Google Plus page is the perfect place to keep track of all our updates and videos and alike. Then we have our website, and on our website you'll find all our videos. They should all be in there and sorted and whatnot. We have a player.me account, which I have no fucking idea what it does. It doesn't work. It is the hippogriff of the internet. And we also have a blogger page, and on a blogger page it just kind of acts as a log of all the stuff that we've done from all the other sites. It kind of combines it and puts it on there, and hopefully, if I've done it right, on Monday we should also be on SoundCloud for our podcasts. So that was that done. I've done it quite, I've got a dry mouth from that. So yeah, we've done that. I'd like to thank Gerzo M to the double C for popping on and helping me out this Saturday, because the other 2 have abandoned me like cowards from a burning ship. So I'd like to say thank you very much to Gerzo. Gerzo is a top man. I've been popping onto his thingy, watching his videos every so often. I watched one where he had a very annoying player playing at the on Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if it's like some weird combat thing, and he was just doing strike and retreat tactics, which is a tactic, but I can understand how irritating that is, especially playing things like, it's one of the reasons I don't play Street Fighter, is because I get caught with those people. It's like, it's very annoying. But yeah, if you want to catch him for any Dragon Ball Z stuff, that it'll be there. I'll drop a link into the description below for both his YouTube channel and his Twitter in case you want to talk to him, because he's a very, very lovely man. And is there anything you want to say?
Just thanks for having me. This was my first podcast I've ever done, so thanks.
Oh, you're a
Been
podcast
great.
virgin. Oh,
Yeah, just popped my podcast cherry.
yes, you just popped your podcast cherry. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in the Geek Corner on Thursday, and bye-bye.
Yeah.